What we talk about is, but are you getting the incremental customer? That's not the person that you're actually coming into contact that's actually in your sphere, but is someone who actually needs your services. How do you find that person?
You're with The Capitalist Sage, a twice-a-month podcast that seeks out entrepreneurs and experts that speak to the real-world life of doing business for their sage advice. Now, with your hosts, Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini.
Welcome to The Capitalist Sage podcast. We are here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors and my co-host Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rocket Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Petrie Corner magazine. Rico, how about introducing our sponsors today?
Sure. So let's talk about where we are first. We're in the podcast room of Atlanta Tech Park. Atlanta Tech Park is an innovation hub with 70 companies, I think, right now that work out of here, out of a capacity of about 110. So a lot of companies here at Atlanta Tech Park. It's an event facility also. So you'll find all sorts of things going on. What's the next one? It's the FinTech that's happening in April?
It's coming up in April.
Right.
Their CIO roundtables that are scheduled.
And you can find one-on-one financing here. You can network with other companies and other financial sources. They do Financial Fridays, I think
Financial Fridays. We have pitch on Fridays, Wine Wednesdays once a month.
Right.
Lots of places for entrepreneurs to come out, network with others, learn some stuff, and get support they need.
That's right. So Atlanta Tech Park sits actually on another innovation thing here in Peachtree Corners, and that's the Curiosity Lab at Peachtree Corners. It's a 5G, a Sprint 5G enabled autonomous vehicle track, 1.7 miles or so. It's a living lab. I mean, there's cars on there, there's people walking, crossing the street, and it's a place that companies can come to, plug in their stuff, and whether it's in the Ollie self-driving vehicle or put their own vehicle on this track,
if you
right?
Look outside of Atlanta Tech Park, you'll see some scooters out there. So e-scooters coming in that will driverless scooters that will return back to its location. So we don't have that problem. Folks in downtown Atlanta see
where they're dumping the scooters on the corners. No, these are enabled through an app where you can get them to come to you even, go pick them up, and then, like you said, once you're done, they'll go right back to where they were. So, and they'll self-charge and stuff like that. So that's another thing that's going on here. And, you know, the backbone is wireless, right? Mm-hmm. It's 5G. But what drives that whole backbone? You still got to bring the cable here to be able to do the 5G. And what's the backbone of that? One of our lead sponsors, and that's Hargrave Fiber. They're a Hilton Island-based company, and they are a company that in the Southeast is bringing fiber optics to not only consumers but businesses. So if you're a small business and you're looking for a fiber solution for your network, for phone, internet, entertainment, you can go to them. If you're at enterprise level, you're looking for bundled resources that can do VoIP and other types of internet traffic and security that they can provide. They're like an IT company, if you will. So they are a lead sponsor of ours. They're providing that, and you can find more about this company, Hargrave Fiber, at hargravefiber.com.
Fabulous. I love how cities like Petrie Corners all over the country are transforming themselves into this technology and digital new smart city. And one of the things that we've been noticing is that small businesses have been struggling to make that transformation to leverage digital marketing, digital technology. So I am so happy to have today's guest, Trent Phillips, founder and CEO of Bizography, a local web design and digital marketing company that helps people improve their digital marketing. If anybody out there is looking for growing their sales, the traditional methods of doing that, they still work, but they've evolved. People have mobile phones. They're looking in different apps, Facebook, Instagram, and others. And Trent and his team at Bizography helps people do that. So we just wanted to share some tips today on what people can do to put that into their marketing plans for 2020 to help them continue to grow their business. Welcome, Trent. Really appreciate you coming.
Carl, thank you for having me today.
Well, why don't we start off by telling us a little bit about, what brought you to where you are today in Bizography. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing now.
Well, I guess I would be considered a dinosaur today. I've actually been in the technology business for 35 years.
Wow.
Started out actually writing babysitting COBOL programs on a mainframe, and realized that was not my destiny in life. And so got a job in the software business, selling software. Initially portfolio analysis software to Wall Street firms, and did that for a while. Actually was in the software business for 15 years. Went through 2 or 3 startups. Very interesting process. Couple in IPO, so worked out. But around 1999, I had just transitioned from the last software company I was working for. And at the time, the internet was the brand new thing. And I was enthralled by the internet. And so sitting in the CIO's office at Home Depot one day, and he was talking to me about a software contract, and had a call from one of his suppliers. And the supplier was having problems logging into their inventory system via the internet. And I realized after talking to the CIO, he's like, these guys are very small suppliers. What stuck with me was that they were small. And big companies have a lot of resources, programmers to make these kind of things work. Who helps the small guy? And that was the light bulb moment for me. Is that there's an opportunity to help small businesses get on the internet. And I was much more interested in providing the content, so started out as a web design company. And about 6 months after we started, the internet went kaboom. And so a lot of people went out of business. And so I kind of
2002, right?
Yeah, 2000. So I looked around and said, you know what? People are still going to need websites. And that's where we actually made our bet. And 20 years, we've been doing that, building websites. And over that time frame, things have evolved. Search engines have come along, social media has come along, digital marketing has come along. So we've just been a company that's kind of embraced all those technologies as they came along and incorporated those into our solutions for small and medium-sized businesses.
So let's jump into that a little bit. You start thinking about the small business owner. What are some of the things that are changing in consumer behavior when it comes to business marketing?
Well, I think the biggest thing that has happened is the consumer, how they consume information has changed. And for somebody who's been in business in the last 10, 15 years, they have actually seen a dramatic shift in the way people get information. And so in the marketing business, you have to find customers, and every business does. But how do you actually go about finding those customers? It used to be the yellow pages. It used to be an ad in the newspaper. Those days are long gone. Everybody today walks around with a cell phone. And so they're a captive audience in some ways, but how do you find that ideal client? And so that's been one of the things that we've been tasked with, and one of the things that we actually provide a solution is helping those businesses, small businesses, find clients today. And it's different.
So if you think about it, and I love, I feel like the role of print media has shifted. In 30, 40 years ago, it served both giving information, keeping people aware. It was the classified, where people went and found things to buy and sell. It was a sports section where you got information on sports and so on. And it filled maybe, 10 other roles. Today, print media still has an important role. I think it's elevated sharing, storytelling, and so on. But some of those other aspects of it has started going into other aspects, especially online and digital media. If you're a small business owner today and you've had a successful business for 25 years, you're the place, everyone already knows your name. Why should I, as a business owner like that, invest or start exploring improved websites, digital marketing, those types of things?
Because your client today is in those places. I don't think you have to abandon the traditional ways you've done business. I always use the old football analogy. As a coach, you got to have a ground game and you got to have an air game. Mm-hmm. And I think of the old ways of actually doing business face to face, handing out business cards, networking, doing print media, those things as the ground game. Mm-hmm. But you also today have to have an air game. And that air game has to be, social media marketing, email marketing, online advertising, all the things that people have embraced today as solutions for getting information. The combination of the two, I think, is where the opportunity is. And there's a balance that you have to strike, and it depends on the business. Some businesses can still use print media very effectively today. But a lot of businesses, their clients are on the internet. They're on social media. They're in all the places that you see these digital assets, and you've got to have a presence there. And so what we do is we try to help clients understand where are your clients, how do you get to those clients, and then provide the services to help them acquire those clients and keep them.
Do you find, like, when they teach you business, right? Mm-hmm. In business school and stuff, they teach you every client's different. You have to find out how they need to reach their client, because every client is different depending on the product, the service, and all that. When we talk social media, do we also talk, like if you're doing retail, do you want to be on Amazon? Do you want to have an Amazon store? I mean, you might have a brick and mortar store, but do you want to have that Amazon store? Because today you can be on Amazon. You can be on Home Depot. Will allow you put their products on there. Walmart,
eBay.
You could go any of these places.
Right.
And what's that other one? Etsy, for the makers. I mean, and that's not necessarily social media, but that's all encompassing, right? Do you find that?
Right. As a matter of fact, depending on what you're doing, you may need to be in all those places.
Right.
You may have your own e-commerce site and still sell products on Amazon. Right. If you have excess inventory, you may actually want to get rid of it on eBay. And so you could actually use all of those different places to do e-commerce. And that's the thing that we try to articulate to clients is that one size does not fit all. Every company is unique in how they actually do business on the web. What we try to do is to try to help them understand what's the best approach for them.
How do you answer them when they say to you, social media, I have a Facebook page, I have an Instagram account. We're handling it fine. But then you go and you look and you say, well, maybe they post it once every 3 weeks or something. How do you answer that to them when they think it's free and they think that they can just do it themselves?
Well, there are certain things that you can definitely do yourself. Looking at something like a Facebook platform, a very sophisticated platform. And I can boost a post. My 15-year-old can boost a post on Facebook, but he can't put together a digital marketing campaign that actually segments my customer base based off their consumer behavior, based off the things that they've actually done as far as surfing the internet.
Why not? Why can't the Joe average business owner? Why can't he do that?
Because he's wearing a lot of hats.
Right.
He's wearing a lot of. He's the marketing guy one day. He's the accounting guy the next day. He's the HR guy the next day, and so he's wearing a lot of hats. And so, if you're going to wear a lot of hats, which every business owner has to at some point, that makes only a lot of sense to outsource some of these things to a company like ours. Today, very few people do payroll internally because it's just not cost effective to do so. And what we try to actually work with our clients to understand is, what is your core competency? Where are you most comfortable? Mm-hmm. If marketing and digital marketing is not your core competency, then outsource that to us, because we've been doing it for a long time. We have a lot of experience doing it, and we can actually do it more effectively.
So one of the challenges when I talk to business owners around their digital marketing or so on, they say, I tried that, and it didn't really do anything. What are they missing? Give us specific as to what does it look like to do it well versus what you see people when you start with them. What are they doing normally versus how do you really elevate that?
The first thing you have to do is you have to set expectations, because a lot of people think that, hey, I want to run a Facebook ad and I'm going to get clients right away. It doesn't work that way. There has to be expectations set as to here's what's going to happen. There are certain things you can do digital marketing wise where you can get results quicker. But if you're actually just doing content marketing, blogging, putting stuff on different social media platforms, you may not see a return on that investment right away.
Why not?
Because it's not a traditional way for people to actually spend money. Here's what happens today, and this is the beauty of the internet. The internet, the main use of it, I think, and still today, is an education platform. The best user is an educated user, and today everybody can get very educated on the internet by just going out and looking at stuff. I can read blogs about how to do anything. I can go to YouTube and learn how to do anything.
Oh, sure.
And so as a education platform, I can learn certain stuff, but if you're not doing digital marketing day in, day out, like a small business owner, a lawyer or a dentist or a doctor who's not, there's no way you can actually keep up.
So help me understand that. Let's say I'm an attorney and I'm putting out a blog regularly on my website, and maybe I post as what am I missing? What's the thing that a professional firm does that's different than what I'm doing?
Well, you may actually put out a blog. You may put a few tags in it. You may not be optimizing it for search engines properly. The frequency needs to be there in order for you to actually do it.
What do you mean frequency?
How many times are you blogging? And once that blog is done, is it just being blogged on your blog, or is it being posted on your Facebook page? Is it being tweeted on your Twitter account? Is it being posted to your LinkedIn account all at the same time?
And probably several times.
Because
no one's looking at their Twitter feed like every single minute of the day. So that stuff needs to be out there 5 or 10 times.
That's
probably,
right.
So it sounds like you're describing to me part of this equation to get good at this is there's a little person in a room that's in front of their computer just constantly doing stuff related to that. Is that what's going on behind the scenes?
No. There's technology in place. There's automation in place to make all that happen. We have people who can actually put that automation in place, tie all those different platforms together, make sure that you're actually targeting the right platforms. If I'm looking for 20-year-olds, I'm probably not looking at Facebook. And so a lot of times people are actually putting stuff out on these different platforms, don't understand the underlying demographics associated with these different platforms. Because depending on who your customer is, they may actually be in a different place. And so that kind of expertise isn't always known. And so automation, helping them with the demographics, developing the content for those different things, that's all stuff that we do.
If you look at different type of business, I'm just going to walk to a couple. Professional services business. What platform, what would be a good digital marketing plan look like for lawyers, accountant, professional service?
Well, I'm definitely going to target LinkedIn because that's where professionals are. The people that they work with are typically professionals also. So that's a very good platform. I think by default, everyone should actually market on Facebook. But the sheer size of it and is big enough that it actually has a target market for pretty much everybody. And so those two platforms are very good. Then the other one I think is extremely important is Twitter.
For professional services, Twitter?
Yeah, because what happens is that Twitter's the 21st century PR tool. And if you want to actually market your services, you want to toot your own horn, Twitter's how you do it. And so you have to use not only traditional ways of doing stuff, but also stuff like Twitter, which I think gets overlooked.
What about Instagram, though? Wouldn't you?
Instagram's for picture-based stuff is good. And if you're in a service business where you showing your work is important, absolutely. Pinterest.
So let's flip to that. Let's say you're not a service-based business, but you make a product, and let's say it's arts, it's gift type items, crafts, that kind of stuff.
Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Oh, those are all good platforms.
And you're posting so what's the content? What is the content you would deliver on that platform?
I'm going to deliver what your product, examples of your work, because that's really what you're doing. Also, again, I still think you have to use Twitter as a way of actually showing your work. You still have to use a blog as a way of actually, demonstrating your expertise, positioning yourself as an expert in that area.
So if you're a service person and you do something like counseling, I'm going to give something generic like that. How do you show your work in counseling?
Well, I think what you do is you actually show your expertise. And so you're blogging, you're tweeting, you're doing things along those lines. You can't really show that on Pinterest.
Right. But can't you, I find video even more accessible. And with captions, it actually is a stronger element than just posting stuff like that.
Yeah, video is the game changer today. Video is number one.
Right.
Rich content, the richer the content, the more people you're going to get.
So why aren't people doing more video? I mean, I go and I look at everybody, and there's, I get the big companies and folks, but when I look at small companies, there's no video.
Yeah, they're probably afraid of it for the most part.
Well, I think a lot of clients that we talk to, they think they have to have a Disney presentation in order to do video. When literally everybody's a videographer today. All you need is your cell phone.
Apple makes it so much easier to shoot a video.
Right.
So help me with this equation. The access is there. The tool is there. They're shooting video of their kids and their pets and everything else.
The cats, yeah.
How can a small business owner take those tools and apply it to drive their business?
Oh, there's several ways. Just, talking about your business, doing a presentation about your business, doing a presentation about the products and services that you offer in video. Then taking that video and delivering it via email, via websites, via all the different platforms that you could put that, social media. And so it could be used very easily. We encourage our clients to do that. I think there's still a phobia around doing video to a certain extent. And I think it has to do something with the age of the clients, because our younger clients have no problem doing video. Some of the older clients are going, I don't know if I want to be on video. And what they're missing is the opportunity to present their products and services in its best light. Everybody now, today, is a movie star.
Sure.
It's interesting. So a lot of service businesses, when I look at their business development plan and when they're marketing, they will show me presentations and seminars and webinars and things of that as a major lead gen for them. And what you're suggesting here is using video to supplement those activities can give them a larger reach and
more engagement, because video is just much more engaging than text and graphics.
What if you're bad? Like, what if you're boring? What if the video is not that strong? What would you recommend a client do in that case?
Well, there's definitely video production companies that do videos. We don't do video production at all, but there's tons of companies out there that do it. We partner with a number of them to actually, design videos for presentations, for how to do stuff, training, a number of ways that you can actually use video, and then take that video and then market that video on a website, via social media, on a blog, email, whatever you want to do with this.
So Rico, you use video a lot. You do a lot of video stuff. When you talk to clients, what are you seeing some of their apprehension around it?
It's to some degree the same. If you're older, you want to be more planned in what you're doing on the video, let's say. Mm-hmm. This is what I get also, right? If you're younger, the only thing I have to tell young people is that if you're shooting Instagram video, it's okay to do it this way. But if you want it on YouTube, you got to do it this way.
Got to do it horizontal,
right?
That's right.
But video the good thing about video is that you can cut it apart, right? You could shoot a 5-minute video and take 1 minute or 30 seconds of it. That's the gem part of it, let's say, and use it. You could show the product, or you could show the behind the scenes of the product.
Right.
Like, I just posted something before we got on that showed us a picture of this multi-screen in YouTube before we went on. So showing the behind the scenes look of what you're doing, showing the everyday life of what you're doing on an Instagram, whether it's YouTube or even getting an influencer. When we put out the magazine, we don't shoot video yet on it, but we take pictures of like at least a dozen places we go to. They're holding the magazine. It's a place that you can, and we post it, we tag it. We tell people you can go have a burrito and you might as well pick up Peachtree Corners magazine while you're there.
Right.
So it's taking brands and putting it together, right? And if you get influencers and we've had them where they take a picture of the magazine with a coffee cup on it and they're like, we just picked up our latest copy. Those are the best, right? When the influencers are out there sharing those videos.
Right. And, as long as you're happy with the video, then you're fine. If you need to do any editing to the video,
then it becomes, and there's apps, but you're right. You have to be, your 18-year-old kid might be able to do it for you, but you might not be able to do it yourself.
That's right. And so a lot of business owners, because it's their business, they obviously want to put their business in the best light. And so they want a nice presentation of everything they're doing. When you get into post-production, then you're talking a different ballgame.
Yeah, and a different dollar amount, too. Because you're talking, you could shoot on a iPhone 11, you could shoot 4K, and you get great sound. But if you want to do that in a professional level, they might charge you, $600, $700, $1,200 for the day, and versus,
being able to do. So let's talk about conversion. So I get attracting people there. What can people do in their digital marketing plans to drive conversion where customers are coming in and either requesting their services or buying their product?
We still think today that in a lot of ways a website is still central to what a lot of people will use as a jumping off point. And so whether they actually come through the door from social media or from a blog or from an ad, they don't necessarily have to go to a website, but at some point in the sales cycle, we see people still going to a website. And so if you can drive that ideal client to your website, provide the content on that website that speaks to the person that you're targeting, put the right presentation, whether it's video, call to actions, ebooks, whatever, in front of those people that'll actually allow those people to convert, then you'll see a higher conversion. But we call it building customer-centric content. And so websites need to be customer-centric, not built around the company themselves, but built around the people that are actually going to be visiting the website. And then having that content speak to those people so they do raise their hands, so they do actually fill out that inquiry form, so they do actually do that call to action. And so we spend a lot of time working with clients to make sure that the content that they actually are providing gives that ideal client that jumping off point to go, I'm your guy. And so that's some of the stuff that we do.
What about if I could ask investment? When I look at a business owner's financials and so on, one of my quick scans is how much they're spending on marketing and advertising relative to their top line. And I've seen a definitive pattern. If they're in the right range, and for some business, depending on their stage, if they're starting up, it should be a little bit more. If they're more mature, it could be a little bit less. Mm-hmm. But anywhere from 4 to 8% of their revenue for certain type of business is what I see as norm for the businesses that consistently grow through cycles. When I see the numbers lower, and I'll see numbers that are in the 1 to 2% and so on, what I'll often hear is, we've got a lot of referral, they already know who we are and so on. But when I look at their revenue numbers, it tends to be flat. And that's fine if that's the objective for the owner. Right. They could save money on marketing and it could stay flat until the environment changes. Competition comes in, they have a service hit, a new product comes out, something impacts them. When you're talking and when you would advise small business owners, what kind of budget should they be setting if they really want to continue to outgrow their competitors in their particular space?
Well, I think your numbers are about right. What we see a lot is exactly what you said as far as getting using the existing channels of doing business. We're getting referrals, so we must be doing something right. What we talk about is, but are you getting the incremental customer? That's not the person that you're actually coming into contact that's actually in your sphere, but is someone who actually needs your services. How do you find that person? Well, that person is not, in a networking group with you. Probably is not one of the referral partners that you have. So they're not coming through those existing channels of getting business. So that's where the online advertising comes into play. And so we see a lot of people who are totally ignoring a portion of their opportunity because they're not actually proactively going out and grabbing people. They're simply just waiting for people to come to them. But you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And that's where we think you can actually pick up a significant amount of business. We see clients that are proactively going after business, and we have clients in the same business that aren't proactively going after business. Mm-hmm. And we can see the difference because over time, you're building a pipeline of potential clients that down the road are going to become your clients.
So what would be the ROI? If someone decides they're going to invest for every dollar spent, based on your experience, what's the ROI when people invest in a digital marketing plan and execute it?
The thing that I think is really key for return on investment is how long are they willing to do it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Small business owners, because they don't have a lot of resources traditionally, want to get a return on investment quicker. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that way with digital marketing. I think that you should have at least a 1-year budget in place in order to actually do digital marketing. Mm-hmm. And then I think you should actually look very closely at return on investment every 90 days to actually and measure what's actually happening and actually tweak it as you're going through those 90-day periods. We see that a lot with advertising, Google and Facebook advertising, where you're doing A/B testing.
What's front. A/B testing?
It's literally taking different ads, for example, and different messages and different audiences, and running that stuff through those different platforms, like looking at those different audiences with different messages and seeing what happens, seeing who responds to what. And when we find a client who responds, audience that responds to an ad or responds to a message, whereby another audience doesn't respond to that ad or that message, then that actually tells us something about that particular audience. And so then we want to actually take that money that we're actually spending on all that ads and actually target the people that are responding. And so we do a lot of that up front. And it's just testing to see what's most effective from a marketing standpoint.
See, what's key about that, can you see the average business owner that says, let's do this ourselves, designing what you're showing is an experiment, a test, A/B testing to test different messages, get the data, come back, figure out what it's telling you, and doing that, what the key is for the first time versus, this is what you do, so you know what the data is telling you. And that's where I see folks, missing a huge opportunity to get educated and get help that can drive their business.
And that's what actually initially will extend, the term for your ROI on digital marketing, because that has to be done first.
Right.
Okay. And the average small business owner does not know how to create multiple ads, may not actually have the expertise to create different messages, definitely does not have the expertise to build different demographic audiences, and then to be able to test those things. We do that for clients. And a lot of times we don't get it right the first time. And so we have to go back and actually tweak what we're doing in order to actually find that optimal audience, message, ad that works.
It's also, I think, two other things that sometimes the business owner thinks they know their client and where it's coming from, and they really may not understand their client well enough.
Exactly, because what happens a lot of times is, we'll go in and the client will go, well, I know who my client is.
Right.
And I say, okay, well, we'll set up an audience of who you think your client is, and then we'll set up a couple of more audiences.
That's
and
the A/B testing.
And we'll run ads at all those audiences, and let's see if your audience is really those people.
Right.
And most of the time, it's not.
and I think most people don't even understand, too, when you're doing it like AdWords or Facebook or whatever, that you're tweaking it on a continuous basis. Not every 90 days. It's like looking at it every day. Right?
Daily.
Right.
Daily.
And there's an interesting dynamic there. What you just described, it's been around for a long time. Focus groups, where they get different groups of people and did it. This was in a room, getting feedback, understanding motivations, and so on. You're able to do that digitally now through these platforms and understand demographics, patterns, where the cost of doing it now drastically dropped from what it took 30, 40 years ago if you just use focus groups to being able to do that on scale for lots of. So it makes it accessible to small business people.
A lot of times you can also even, this is using a camera, right? Set up your iPhone camera, do a time lapse, and then look at it at the end of the day and see who your customers really are. There will be a pattern in there of the type of client that's walking through that door if you're a consumer-driven business.
Yes,
You'll be able to see that in a way more natural way. The focus group, I agree. You could do that. You get some good feedback. Sometimes it depends. But if you put that time-lapse camera up for about 8 hours in your shop and you see that, and then you play it back later, you can see the exact client in a way more dynamic way.
You could do that offline, and you could do that digitally.
You can do that digitally,
Who visits your site, how long they stay.
Really, and so just looking at the demographics and the behavior of the people that are actually coming to your site. Well, this person went to bankrate.com to look at a mortgage. So is he actually a good prospect for a real estate agent? Probably. This person got turned down by the bank. Is he a good person to target for a hard money lender? Probably. And so there are things, if a young couple all of a sudden their address changes, are they a good target for a divorce attorney? Maybe. And so the behavior behind these platforms will allow you now to actually build audiences based off their behavior.
Right.
And see, that's the stuff that a small business owner is never going to be able to understand. And that's the kind of stuff that we do.
Well, this is a lot of good information, and I think it's one of the areas where I find most small business owners are lacking in when they look at their plans. So I start with the financials. I see their marketing spend. I ask them what are they doing, and they're going to tell me a lot of traditional methods. And they'll describe their website. They'll describe maybe buying some Facebook ads or a couple things, but they don't necessarily have a LinkedIn strategy. I don't think that they've done A/B testing. I don't think that they've looked at the data and made tweaks on it. And so they're not getting the results, but they think they're doing really good digital marketing. And so if there's something in 2020 that small businesses can do to improve their business, I think definitely if you don't have a website, it has a place in your business, and it's probably necessary if you're interested in attracting more customers. If you don't have a digital marketing plan that leverages the right platform with the right content and the right frequencies and the right methods, you're leaving money on the table. And I think, Rico, you mentioned video, incorporating video into
by far. I think if you're not doing it, you're not doing it.
You're leaving money on the table if you're trying to acquire customers.
Right. And one of the other things I think is really important is this is something that the owner actually has between his ears, is to take their expertise and actually use it as content for social media platforms.
Absolutely.
And so that's something that really just requires you to take all that expertise that you have between your ears and sharing it with somebody.
That's absolutely it.
Well, thank you so much. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit what you've got going on over the next few months? How can people find you, learn more?
Yeah, you can find us at bizography.com. That's the easiest place to find us. We are actively working with all different types of small, medium-sized businesses, trying to help them understand this challenge of digital marketing. We work with companies actually around the country. So we're in Alpharetta. You can find us on the web at bizography.com. And we'll be the guys out there with our hair on fire trying to help people.
Well, I want to thank.
I can't say that.
I want to thank our guest, Trent Phillips, CEO of Bizography, for his time today, helping us, just giving us advice on how to grow our business using digital marketing and websites. Everyone talks about it. Everyone says they're doing it. But if you take nothing else away from today, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, and you got to make a decision. Do you have the time to commit to learn and execute on all these things to really drive a strong digital marketing campaign so you get a return on your investment? And if you're honest with yourself and you don't think you could, seeking help isn't hard. I don't know that many people that would try to defend themselves in court if that's not their vocation. If you're looking to grow your business, focus on your customers, focus on your teams, focus on your business, and get either educated and pick up the skills yourself, or find someone that has it to help you grow your business. So I'd like to thank Atlanta Tech Park for hosting the Capitalist Stage podcast. If you're looking to start a business or be around entrepreneurs and in a greater work environment, come take a visit in Petrie Corners, Atlanta Tech Park, located in the Curiosity Lab right down the street from City Hall here. It's a great place to come by, ask for Emily or Ashley, and they'll give you a tour and tell you a little bit more about some of the services and opportunities that are here. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors of Atlanta Petrie. We help business owners just try to improve their business. We do it so that they can improve the value of the business. They can send their kids to school. They can live a good life. And when they're ready to move on to the next thing, we help them find buyers and people that'll help them buy their business so that they can move on to the next thing. So if anybody want to have a consult with any one of our advisors, you can reach us at www.tworld.com/Atlanta Peachtree, or you can email me, Karl K. Barham at tworld.com, and we can have a conversation about your business and how you can grow it, and or if you're ready, how you can exit it. Also, Rico,
sure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got coming up?
Sure. Well, I want to thank again Hargrave Fiber for being a leading sponsor on the podcast that we do, the family podcast, because Capitalist Sage is one of several that we do. Peachtree Corners Life, you'll find that. In fact, tonight we're interviewing a candidate for Gwinnett County Sheriff. Oh. So if you want to tune in at about 6:30, we will be talking to Floyd Scott tonight. Peachtree Corners Magazine is a magazine that's mailed to every household in the city of Peachtree Corners. So you don't have to worry about walking into a place and picking it up. We're going to be right in your mailbox. It's going to be a big, big magazine. You should have gotten in the last week or two. We're working on the next issue now, which is the April-May issue. Big cover story is likely the youth sports. That's big in Peachtree Corners and Gwinnett County. So we're looking at baseball, softball, soccer, and then a variety of other sports in there as well, along with middle school soccer, no doubt. We're also going to be doing an article on doing good, using the homegrown nonprofits in Peachtree Corners and what they're doing. So we're going to be doing that as well. You know, it's interesting finding you could Google what you want if you know what you want, but we hope that the magazine brings surprises that you haven't been looking for. So that's the good part about print to a degree, especially when it's hyper local, because you really can't get that on CNN or Fox News or anything like that, right? So there's that. And then, of course, MightyRockets.com if you're looking to do videos or social media content or anything along those lines, or you just want to talk shop, check out MightyRockets.com. Give me a call, 678-358-7858. And visit livinginpeachtreecorners.com, which is a website for the magazine and these podcasts.
And you will see additional articles, news in there around business, around education, around living in and around Peachtree Corners. Great site if you want to keep up with local happenings. And there's a great way to extend digital media, how we can help educate and people can find information about what's going on around the city. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Trent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, everyone, thank you very much. This has been our 30th episode of the Capitalist Sage podcast, and it has been a joy. We're continuing to bring you local business experts and business leaders and people in the community so that more people can find ways to improve their business. That's our mission, and we're going to continue to strive to do that in 2020. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Follow us on Facebook, any of the
Peachtree Corners Life.
Peachtree Corners Life on Facebook.
Share it with your friends because you get notified when we go live on these streams. And on Instagram, you could go to the Capitalist Sage.
Capitalist Sage on Instagram. So you'll be notified when we do new episodes. Right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
This has been the Capitalist Sage with Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini, the twice-a-month podcast with entrepreneurs and business experts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want more? Visit our website at capitalistsagepodcast.com.